One of his campaign people alleged that the president was like a puppet. I agree with him. Now I do. George Bush won, George Bush lost. I don't see how you can lead this country if you say war would make this world a more peaceful place. That's kind of a fucked up mentality. It makes no sense. I don't think that makes sense. I don't think it's right. It's ludicrous. The troops wonder, how can I follow this guy?
We're here today, as you might be aware of what's been happening over the past few days with indiscriminate police violence on the streets of St. Paul and Minneapolis, and also we've had reports of severe brutality inside the jails, denial of medication for people who need it, and we're calling on the mayor to demand three things, essentially. But before I do that, is there any statement or comment that the mayor's office would like to make about what's going on right now?
Well, we've certainly heard various reports of instances throughout the city. We've taken those in as appropriate. The reports of actions at the jail are obviously under the purview of Ramsey County. Pass those along as appropriate. So if you have specific information that you'd like us to look into, we're happy to do that. I mean, overall, I would say that there's been a lot of activity in St. Paul this week. Obviously, there's been a lot of emotions in play. We feel that we've done a good job protecting folks' First Amendment rights. Thousands of people have come to St. Paul and been able to express their First Amendment rights in peaceful protests. There's been a lot of criminal activity as well. And obviously, we've taken proportionate measures to address that. As the convention comes to a close, all those are still ongoing criminal investigations, and we're going to continue those investigations. Obviously, there's going to be a public conversation going forward about actions that were taken. But we feel, overall, that St. Paul has done as much or more than previous convention cities to provide people the opportunity to express themselves peacefully, and we're very pleased that a lot of people have had the opportunity to do that.
Thanks for your statement. You mentioned criminal investigations. Is that against police or against protesters? Well,
every arrest has a case attached to it. Those cases will go through the courts as appropriate, and those investigations will continue. If folks want to make complaints about that, we have a mechanism for that as well. And folks are welcome to do that too.
Thank you for that option. We're here to demand immediate action, actually, because what's been happening is what we've seen, if anything, criminal has been going on in the streets. It's petty vandalism, okay? But on the part of police, we've seen indiscriminate violence. We've seen tear gassing, pepper spraying, rubber bullets, concussion grenades, all on peaceful protesters. We have not seen this type of activity against anyone that is conducting themselves illegally. All of this indiscriminate violence is being conducted on people peacefully protesting. So as far as we're concerned, this type of violence has to stop, and we believe that the mayor may not control the actions of Sheriff Fletcher, but certainly he controls what happens on the streets of his city in St. Paul, and he must intervene. In addition, we're getting reports from jail. I am part of a legal support system, both with the National Lawyers Guild and with the Cold Snap Legal Collective. We take calls from jail. Today, at a press conference at 11 a.m., a 19-year-old kid by the name of Elliot Hughes made an account of what happened to him inside the Ramsey County Jail. Are you aware of this incident?
I'm not.
Okay. Well, let me describe it briefly for you. He was in his jail. He had not been fed for 12 hours. He was chanting for food. Okay? Must have been disturbing the correctional officers because 5 or 6 of them came into his cell. One hit him on the head, knocked him unconscious. Another officer smashed his head on the ground, awakening him from unconsciousness. They then put a plastic bag on his head, tied it around him, and proceeded for an hour to beat him senselessly. He pleaded for mercy, and they would not take the bag off of his head. He vomited inside the bag, and they refused to take it off of his head. Do you have anything to say about that?
I can't speak to any particular incident. I don't have any facts on that particular case.
How about a criminal investigation into that matter?
I'm not prepared or authorized to.
Are you going to take this information to the mayor and make sure he does something about it?
Well, I will absolutely pass along your concerns to the mayor, yes.
Okay, well, we've got 3 demands.
Yes.
We demand that the police violence end on the streets. We demand that all arrestees be released immediately. And we demand the dismissal of all charges. These are overcharges that are completely unnecessary. People have spent days in jail unnecessarily. There's one other thing.
Yes.
Sheriff Fletcher has made a statement today that a march that's going to take place at 4 o'clock, that's basically happening right now, at 5 o'clock he's going to consider that march illegal. Okay, so within less than an hour, we could see sheriff's deputies again engaging in indiscriminate violence on the streets. This is not a game. You're affecting people's lives. You're injuring people. The mayor is responsible. He must do something. So we want to know what he's going to do.
I will pass you. Obviously, come here to deliver a message. It's been received. You come here in a respectful way, and I appreciate that. I will take your concerns back to the mayor. I'm just not in a position to speak to Sheriff Fletcher's actions. He's under the jurisdiction of Ramsey County. I will deliver your message back appropriately. And I just, I don't have all the facts. I'm not in a place to speak to any specifics.
Well, you should check the evening news tonight, and you will see an account of Elliot Hughes and the incident that happened to him. How do you intend to get back in touch with us?
Well, if you want to leave your information, I'd be happy to get you back in touch with you. I'll give you my card as well. You can
please do that.
Hold on a second.
Just one other thing.
Here's my information.
It's our understanding that the lobby is now full of riot police, and we ask that you ensure that we are able to safely leave the building.
I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to safely leave the building, just as you safely came into the building.
We have been in fear, essentially, from police intimidation and harassment for days on end. I was in a house that was raided on Saturday, and quite frankly, we don't feel safe on the streets of St. Paul. So anything that you might be able to do to ensure our protection would be much appreciated. If you can call down and tell these riot police to back off, that would be helpful.
Right. Well, you're going to be able to leave the building safely just as you came in.
Okay. Well, if we're harassed,
we're here and we're talking
find out about it.
We're here. You came here respectfully. We're talking to you. I don't have time to speak to any of your specific instances.
Yeah, we appreciate
Thousands of people have been able to come and peacefully express themselves, and there's also been a great deal of criminal activity.
Well, hundreds of those who peacefully expressed themselves were also arrested based on little or no information.
And I understand that accusation. There's a process through the courts for that to be worked out, and I'm sure that folks are going to avail themselves of that process.
And you said we came here peacefully and respectfully. Why is it necessary that riot police have to surround the building for people who are coming respectfully to speak with the mayor?
Well, Ramsey County provides security for the building. I mean, you came up to the door, the door is open.
That we're respectful and peaceful.
Yes.
So why is it necessary to have riot police outside?
We didn't call for riot police.
Well, who did?
I don't know. They'll have to contact Ramsey County.
Mr. Fletcher.
So what's troubling, Bob, is that no one is taking responsibility for this. You are saying, I am not responsible for the police harassment outside. We're going to go out. We'll probably be harassed. Who knows? Maybe we'll be let free. Hopefully. But who is going to take responsibility for this?
Well, I don't concede that there is police harassment.
Who can talk to Sheriff Fletcher?
You came in. You're welcome to go to Sheriff Fletcher and speak to him. He's an elected official as well. Just as you're welcome into this office today.
So you think he would receive us?
I hear your concerns, and I will pass them along. And, you had a statement to make, and you made it.
Excuse me, I haven't seen any of you guys taking any notes on this conversation. Do you feel like you've got these demands perfectly straight?
Oh, I'm happy to take them down. For Joe.
Thank you for noticing that.
Well, I suspect the demand.
I'm Dennis Moynihan, the CEO of Free Speech TV, and I'm also concerned about the treatment that journalists have been receiving here. We have Amy Goodman, who's actually accused by your city of misdemeanor interference with a peace officer. You may be one of the 700,000 people who watched her arrest on the internet. Do you have any knowledge of this?
I don't have any specific facts on any of these particular.
Yeah, City Attorney John Choi made a public statement that no journalists had been charged with any crime. And Amy Goodman happened to have been in the audience and said,
Yeah, no, I know that she was at that press conference.
So I hope that Attorney Choi gets his facts straight and makes good on his statement that no journalists are charged by dropping the charges against them. And we also have two journalists, Sharif Abdel-Qaddus and Nicole Salazar, who were violently arrested by the Minneapolis police on your turf and still have probable cause felony riot charges hanging over their heads, which is very chilling to a journalist attempting to conduct First Amendment protected journalism. And their civil rights were violated on St. Paul City property. And I would expect the mayor to intervene. He hasn't returned any of my calls.
Okay.
So here's my cell number, and would like
do you want to restate
call back from the mayor?
We're going to give you the demands because we want to save you the time of writing them down. We've been in touch with a number of elected officials as well, besides the mayor's office. We've been in touch with Congressman Keith Ellison. He's very disturbed about the last few days about police violence and conduct inside the jail. He intends to do something about it. Congresswoman Betty McCollum wants to potentially conduct an investigation about what has happened. I'm sorry. Over here.
Please.
You listening? Okay. Congresswoman Betty McCollum is very concerned about what has happened and is considering. I thought we were here peacefully.
Why are you talking to these folks?
Again, those
So did you tell them to leave?
They left. They're leaving.
They had a camera on them.
Okay.
Please continue.
Congresswoman Betty McCollum, who's the Congresswoman for St. Paul, is very, very concerned about what's going on in the streets and in the jails. She's considering conducting an investigation into police misconduct. Do you have anything to say about that?
I can't speak to her comments. I haven't heard them.
Okay.
This way. Right, police? Here in the hallway. I assume
You need to intervene. You're not. Come in. Come out. Come out. You're coming out.
I'm not coming out. Hello. We're okay.
You going okay?
Yeah, we're okay. Thank you for coming.
There's no need for police to do that.
We're here peacefully and respectfully. That's what Mr. Bob Hume had to say, okay?
Who works here?
I do. We're just having a conversation. We're okay.
People getting this on film?
They're taking on.
That's the mayor's office for
You
you.
people should be ashamed of yourselves. You know that, right? You should be ashamed of yourselves. The way you're conducting this city right now is a travesty.
Don't holler.
Well,
I heard you just
yeah, I hear your concerns. When you come to make a statement.
This is a very serious thing that's going on here. This is not a game. And we expect action from the
They're not
mayor.
leaving.
I understand your concerns. I understand your concerns.
All right. Well, it doesn't sound like you're hearing us. I mean, you didn't want to go outside to tell them to leave. You were forced to talk to them.
Ramsey County provides the security for this building. We did not call these folks up here.
That didn't come from the mayor's
That did not come from our office.
independently.
I'm not concerned about who called the riot police in here. I'm concerned about the action the mayor is having or not having. What's going on at the even in the office. If there's any violence on the streets of St. Paul this afternoon, it will be on the mayor's head. Okay?
Thank you for coming.
I'd like to add one thing. I wasn't planning on saying anything. I'm an attorney here, and I'm mostly observing. But the idea that we'd be up here and suddenly there are, 20, 25 riot police up here where we're posing no threats. We all came through downstairs. We have no weapons. We just have our voices. And what I'm seeing here, I don't think the police are, bad people, but I think there's an element of paranoia that's going on here where people are seeing, they're connecting dots that aren't to be connected. Just in my neighborhood, over on Palace in St. Paul, at 2 in the morning I get a call from my neighbors, and the police are out front. What happened was a neighbor saw a car in the neighborhood that didn't recognize, called the police. I think any other time of the year, police would have run the plate, seen there was no problem. They would have said, well, call us if there's a problem. But instead, they see a bag in the back seat. They have 10 cars out there, now 2 in the morning, 20 officers out there. They basically get into the car, they break a window, they turn the car upside down, they find nothing, they impound it. So here's this kid from Iowa who's up staying with my neighbors. He's a peacenik here to demonstrate. He's driving his grandmother's car, that now has a broken window and it's sitting in the impound lot just because I think people are seeing shadows where they aren't. And that's part of what's really concerning me is that, you know, this is the kind of response we're seeing all over television.
No, thank you for your comments.
Is there a phone number here that rings? The phone hasn't rung here. I've called every phone number in your staff directory. It goes straight to voicemail. I talked to a city council receptionist who said, "Oh, you can't get through there." Actually, I'm going to go down there in person.
We're getting a lot of calls. We're going to be returned. If you leave a voicemail, we'll get back to you.
Well, you haven't, though. I've been calling for days. But I have imminent charges levied against some of my journalists who are in town. We have FBI visiting the lobby of the building where I've rented office space.
Where are you from?
Dennis Moynihan. I'm the CEO of Free Speech TV. First hour in town, I immediately had to go and retrieve this woman who was surrounded with St. Paul police with AR-15s at 951 Eaglehart.
That is your jurisdiction, isn't it?
That's in the
That was the St. Paul Police Department that was present. There were no other officers from any other jurisdiction present. That was St. Paul Police only, directly under Mayor Coleman.
Can I also say that, you know, Police Chief Harrington yesterday ventured the canard once again that bags of feces have been hurled at delegates and police officers. And I've been involved with journalism covering mass movements like this for some time, and nary a bag of feces has ever been produced. So could Officer Harrington, through whatever office he has, at least offer up one bag of feces for us, please? It's just, that's all we ask, to see one.
Pass your information along to the police department.
You could mail it to my office in Denver, whatever they can do. But I'd like to see one piece of evidence. I know the investigations, and we can do some DNA typing on it.
Okay.
After the point being made about St. Paul Police being involved and you basically not really responding in any way that seems appropriate to the level of harassment and intimidation, I don't feel confident that you're going to go back into your office and do anything about this. So what can you give us? I mean, you said you're not responsible for the sheriff, which I understand. You're responsible for the streets of St. Paul, however. And what are you going to do about the police department?
Sir, you come in, you've made your demands, I've taken them, and I will pass them along appropriately. And that's the best that I can do for you today. And
which isn't very much.
Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way.
If we're harassed outside by riot police, are we able to come back up and get you?
Well, Ramsey County provides security for the building. I don't think they're going to.
We got people like me and a lot of other people who have.
Would you want to have one of your staff escort us out of the building?
Actually, I'm staying in the office.
What about where it's safe? You're going to stay here where it's safe, because those police are thugs.
I don't think
this gentleman here escort us out.
I appreciate your comment.
Can this gentleman here escort us out?
No. I'll do that myself. I don't think if you're
Are you a city staff person?
No, but I'm someone who can observe things very well.
And plenty of observers.
Quite frankly,
you've got lots of observers. So the bottom line is, as long as you just go out.
We've had many observers. We've been detained. Many of us for the past week, and that has not prevented any of the violence we've seen so far. And so that doesn't give us the confidence that we need to feel safe walking through the hallway or walking out onto the street.
You obviously haven't been experiencing any of the raids that have happened on people's houses or the arrests that have happened unnecessarily on the streets.
But I don't think that's going to happen to you as you go.
Oh, thank you for your confidence. I appreciate it. Talk to me when you're inside a house after it's been raided.
I understand.
I don't think
you
do.
No.
It would be really helpful if he walked down with us. It would make me feel better.
Just for safety.
I do
I'll
feel
come down.
Thank you.
I'll walk you out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Legal observers? What? Legal observers? What's happening? Just take down these names and numbers, please.
Here you go. Come on, folks.
We'll get a whole bunch up in one elevator on there. I just don't want any entrapment.
Okay, we're up.
Interesting day today.
Oh, Chuck, it's coming to an end.
Thank you.
The convention's going to be over in a few hours.
Meanwhile, people still are inside jail.
Another song about revolution. I guess everyone is too wrapped up in more important shit.
Mobile broadcast news.
Okay, but on the part of police, we've seen indiscriminate violence. We've seen tear gassing, pepper spraying, rubber bullets, concussion grenades, all on peaceful protesters. We have not seen this type of activity against anyone that is conducting themselves illegally. All of this indiscriminate violence is being conducted on people peacefully protesting. So as far as we're concerned, this type of violence has to stop, and we believe that the mayor may not control the actions of Sheriff Fletcher, but certainly he controls what happens on the streets of his city in St. Paul, and he must intervene.
We feel that we've done a good job protecting folks' First Amendment rights. You know, thousands of people have come to St. Paul and been able to express their First Amendment rights in peaceful protest. There's been a lot of criminal activity as well. And obviously we've taken proportionate measures to address that. You know, as the convention comes to a close, you know, all those are still ongoing criminal investigations, and we're going to continue those investigations. Obviously there's going to be a public conversation going forward about, you know, actions that were taken. But we feel, you know, overall that St. Paul has done as much or more than, you know, previous convention cities to provide people the opportunity to express themselves peacefully, and we're very pleased that a lot of people have had the opportunity to do that.
Thanks for your statement. You mentioned criminal investigations. Is that against police or against protesters?
Well, every arrest, you know, has a case attached to it. Those cases will go through the courts as appropriate, and you know, those investigations will continue. If folks want to, you know, make complaints about that, we have a mechanism for that as well. And folks are welcome to do that too.
Thank you for that option. We're here to demand immediate action, actually, because what's been happening is what we have seen, if anything, criminal has been going on in the streets. It's petty vandalism.
One of his campaign people alleged that the president was like a puppet. I agree with him. Now, I do. George Bush won, George Bush lost. I don't see how you can lead this country if you say war would make this world a more peaceful place. That's kind of a fucked up mentality. It makes no sense. I don't think that makes sense. I don't think it's right. It's ludicrous. The troops wonder, how can I follow this guy?
We're here today, as you might be aware of what's been happening over the past few days with indiscriminate police violence on the streets of St. Paul and Minneapolis, and also we've had reports of severe brutality inside the jails, denial of medication for people who need it, and we're calling on the mayor to demand three things, essentially. But before I do that, is there any statement or comment that the mayor's office would like to make about what's going on right now?
Well, we've certainly heard various reports of instances throughout the city. We've, you know, taken those in as appropriate. The reports of actions at the jail are obviously under the purview of Ramsey County. Pass those along as appropriate. So if you have specific information that you'd like us to look into, we're happy to do that. I mean, overall, I would say that there's been a lot of activity in St. Paul this week. Obviously, there's been a lot of emotions in play. We've